Hey peeps, Amma here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This Saturday we'll be talking about how to keep your marriage strong. So if you'd like to learn more about this, stay tuned. Joining me for this conversation is a lovely couple, Tebogo and Amani Tawana, who are married for 5 years and they have a beautiful 3-year-old girl. If you've been following my married couple series, you would have noticed that I always ask the couples to share one thing that they love about each other. So this is what Tebogo and Amani had to share. Tebogo said he loves Amani because she's always challenging him to be better. Oh wow, this is really nice. And then Amani said she loves Tebogo because he is kind and supportive no matter what. So sweet. Tebogo and Amani, thank you so much for making the time for this important conversation. Such an honor to have you on the channel. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, and hi to everyone and to you.
Married. So I want to find out from you, what are some of the basic things which a married couple needs to do in order to keep their marriage strong?
You want to go first?
No, you can go ahead first. That's the first thing, by the way.
I'd say, for us, there's quite a lot of things that, and it's a list that keeps growing as the years go by.
Yeah.
The first thing that we had to really work on, it's basically the foundation of communication.
Yeah.
We both came in as individuals and with our own, perspective on life and what we wanted to do and what we want to achieve and who we are. And it was mainly about first getting to know each other. And also before you know each other, also knowing yourself as an individual in order to
it's
be
important.
Able to
Yeah.
Because then you can't exactly forge a way ahead together if you yourself are not really sure of where you're going. Obviously it's not always cut in stone, but it's an ongoing journey of communication, where we talk about, we met as students. And you progress you start working. What are your plans? We got married when I was 27, you were 28.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, my next step is my PhD, but I want to have a child, and but I want to stay in Cape Town, he wants to be in Joburg. And so communicating what my plans were, and expectations for each other.
True.
Yes, and also just trying to establish what are our core beliefs, like as individuals and also as a couple.
Yes.
I want to add.
Yeah, communication sounds like such a cliche to many people when you say it, right? But it's important, even when you're fighting, for example, or you disagree with stuff, and then you must always have this role to say, okay, we might be fighting, not be liking you so much right now, but then you get to that point whereby, let's say every Friday you go for a walk. And during that walk, you're able to communicate and be honest with each other to say, okay, you know what, I'm really honest with you, this is why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, or this is happening. So it tends to cool things off, and you tend to, because you love each other and you cover the time, you're able to reconcile and fix things in communication.
And what really worked for us, like just touching on what he mentioned, is that we always had, we've got every Friday afternoon after work, and just go for a walk around the neighborhood.
Spending quality time, I think that's coming. It's one of our questions. I think we have that as well, the importance of spending quality time, and it's gonna come up, and I'm glad you're bringing this up now. It just shows that it's really essential if you really want to make
your marriage strong and not go to the extreme where people end up getting divorced, right? And
yeah. It's something that, I mean, everybody says it, so you kind of take it for granted. But it's so pivotal to the actual foundation of marriage. To spend as much time together. Obviously, it gets complicated once there are kids along.
you want to have that balance.
Yes. Yeah, but quality time, communication.
I think I would also, without spending too much time, I would summarize it to say also making the other person a priority in everything. So when you get married, you must realize actually that you're bringing in someone in your life that is exactly the same as you. That is why they call it your other half. And if one sees it that way and you see the person as a priority, whatever that you do, even the most trivial things, you must see them as a priority and factor them in your decision. So I can't just decide to move to England and make the plans and whatever.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's, or even something so trivial, I might think it's trivial, but it's something that you must always put your spouse as a priority. And of course, you show that by communicating with them your thoughts and your feelings amongst many things. And
wow, amazing. Wow. That's really interesting. You guys are sharing some important points, and I really hope other people, other couples will listen to this, because I mean, you guys have the experience. I mean, to be married for almost 5 years now, that is not, small. It's a big deal, and kudos to you guys. You are really an inspiration. Okay, I'm going to ask you, to what extent do you allow other people, like maybe your parents or your pastor or your siblings, or I'm mentioning pastor because I know you guys are religious. I'm not just assuming that there's a pastor, there's the Eve, and or your siblings or friends, anybody. To what extent do you allow them to interfere in your marriage life? Because I mean, I know there are a lot of people that they always struggle to balance them as a couple, the outside world and the demands of other people. So I want to know from you guys, to what extent do you allow those people interfere in your marriage life?
You don't understand?
I guess, well, sure. Not a lot. I think there's also a lot of it, well, first of all, has to do with our personalities. I don't think we've always been like those people with lots of friends. So by default, you've got little people interfering in our life. Besides that, we do have family, obviously, but even then, like okay, I'm gonna speak about myself and then you as well. But I don't allow my family to interfere in our marriage. There's this thing that when we got married, we were advised that once you bring in family, it gets complicated, because you're having a fight and then you reconcile, but then your sister still sees your wife as a villain and you've long spoken about it and whatever. So when we have problems, I don't communicate with my family. And even if maybe there are things that I might communicate, it's not something like serious whereby they would view my wife in a certain light. I'd rather talk to her family because they know her better. And when she's being like this, understand it this way, but not to my family, because I just feel like the consequences are just are bad. They will view her in a certain way. So really, there's not a lot of interference, whether it be friends or a long taken a stance that we'll try to talk as much as we can, but it's us. There's no other people involved.
Wow.
Yes, so we're very private in terms of our relationship. We try to protect that as much as possible. I think also having learned that, while planning the wedding, and I think while planning the wedding was so important for us to be each other's comfort. Throughout all the drama, from with the whole planning. So we decided that it would be something that would be important for us to just keep the peace also amongst everybody. And also because, our families tend to always take, their own child's side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and always be like, he's doing this, he's doing that. Whereas at that moment, I'm saying something because I'm angry.
Yeah.
And my mom is very overprotective of us, so she's very understanding, and she's very objective most of the time. But she also has, that mother bear instinct where she's supposed to protect us. So we always just speak to each other first. Like, I will defend him and he will defend me to the death, like when we're in front of other people. Yeah, but when we with each other, then you can call each other out and be like, babes, no, like,
That is awesome.
you overreacted there. Maybe you should have tried this, or
Yeah.
but not in front of everyone.
Yeah. So you have each other's back when you're out there, which I think that is key. That is so key. Then you have each other's back no matter what, especially in public. And when you come home, that's when you sort out your issues.
Yes.
Like that you guys are very much open to communication, that you don't hold things inside, which is so important. People need to understand that, especially couples. If you're gonna get married or in marriage, you can't be holding things and bottling things, because that is
it's as much as we often get it right, I think for me it's still something. Well, it depends on the situation,
right.
like, I don't know if you're aware, like, how everybody knows like love languages, but then there's also fight languages. So when we're in a fight, I tend to, it's something that I've always done, like from when I was young. So I'd rather be quiet than for things to escalate. Or sometimes I keep quiet because I'm also trying to gather my thoughts. But it's sort of like, the silent treatment. And it's something that when I do it, I'm doing it in a way to protect myself and also to protect that person. But to my husband, it's like, it causes tension. And it's like, okay, I'm comfortable with tension and he's not comfortable with the tension. But in my head, I'm like, leave me alone. I'm still sorting things out. But in the atmosphere of our home,
it's not pleasant.
It's not pleasant. So as much as we communicate openly in a lot of things, there are some situations where I tend to not bottle things in, but rather my first instinct is to be silent, which then doesn't help the situation, because then he's taking it as if like I don't care. Or
I believe in talking.
He believes it, like he really believes in talking. Like
I see. So there's that, which is normal, right? In a couple, it's normal not to, because we're different human beings. That's number one. And so we deal with things, in different ways. When we're angry, we react differently, or so that is normal. But what I like about you is that you are aware about these things and you are now able to share them. You're able to talk about them, which I think is critical, because then you know that Annie is said, this is what I'm gonna expect. Your husband already knows. Tebogo knows that this is what's gonna happen. So the fact that he knows about it and you're even able to talk about it, I think is good. I think to keep strong, honestly, rather than not knowing what to expect. Then that
we actually had to work through that. One thing that I would add is one thing that he really appreciates is that if I'm having a bad day. Well, this is before work from home, but like if I'm having a bad day, like at work, and I'm not at home yet, he expected me to send him a message and let him know that I'm not okay. So that's something that I've never been used to, but it's something that he would have appreciated from me at the time, that I let him know, so that when he comes home, he's not, because he's coming from work and he's expecting, this is my sanctuary from all the drama at work, and whereas I'm sitting in the dark and I'm screaming angry, like these things have happened. They've happened, or I'm depressed, or I'm going through a phase where just things are not working, or whether it's at work or personally. So just to let him know where I'm at in my space. So we are trying that. So even if I'm not okay when I come in through the door, I'll tell him like, okay, right now I'm angry, like just give me 5 minutes or something.
I think that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, and we don't always get it right. Just understanding each other, fight things, how to, but it's something that you constantly have to work on and just tell yourself that
it's a
you'll get
process.
there.
It's a process. So now I want to be specific. I want to know, how do you manage external communications when you are spending time together? You know, let's say a phone rings and you guys are having supper. You know, it's family time. You're having supper. Or a phone rings. One of your phones, either Amani or Tebogo's phone, ring when you are, you know, at night when you guys are getting rest. You know, how do you manage such you know, external communication?
Well, I did mention earlier that we don't have lots of friends, so we're not like a good case study because that rarely happens. So most likely when a call comes in, it's most likely going to be important, therefore it gets attended to.
Okay.
But besides that, we do have a rule. Well, we actually need to resume. We had a rule. We sort of like didn't follow through recently. Yeah, but then the rule is during supper, you know, not even watching any show on TV or anything like that or on the internet. If there's this rule, if there's a family, we sit down and then we eat, and that's when we're able to talk about how was your day, and you're able to, you know, to say, you know what happened, so I'm happy with this and whatever. It's just but we've just have this rule to say family time, no social networks, no nothing. It's just us sitting down and eating.
And so maybe I should have even rephrased this question, because to be more relevant, it's actually good to actually not worry so much. Given your case study, you don't worry a lot about external, you know, people, because you don't have a lot of friends. But again, I'm sure you all have a phone with social media. I know you have that. Instagram and stuff. So maybe I should have actually asked, the phone part. How often are you on your phone? Can Amani take out her phone and start replying to Instagram messages while you're having stuff like that?
No, we don't. That's the rule. We said no, we don't do that. And I think we were okay when it was just the two of us. But immediately once we had a daughter, we want to give her that, you know, that those happy memories to say my parents and I, we used to sit down and have supper. And you know, we try to give her the attention and us as a family, because the minute we're in our phones, I mean,
and it's for us, we came from very different family backgrounds. And for me, my family, we worked after school. We worked at my, I guess, dad's shop, or the whole family's shop. And we came back like really late, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So, you know, supper time was like, you just eat quickly while you're watching TV. So we weren't really talking as much. So one thing that was really important for me was that I communicated to my husband that I wanted, you know, like that family time where we are bonding and talking and even if it's just us listening to my daughter just blabbing about something, like we engage her so that, you know, she has that platform. Like growing up, she knows that she has that platform to talk with us, chill with us, have fun, that kind of thing. Because, you know, with social media, I think for me it's on and off. But we've read books like, you know, Deep Work and all of that we really want to separate family time and keep it very, what's this, like sort of like in a, what is it?
Digital minimalism
of that sort kind of thing, and really protect our home space and our family time from, you know, the connectedness of everybody else infiltrating our home space.
Wow. So I can write a whole book on how to keep your marriage strong from your case study. Inspiring.
We're trying. We're trying. 5 years young and trying.
I can just imagine how strong you guys will be in 10 years' time. You know, you grow as you go through the process. So amazing. Do you guys do 50-50? I'm sure you know about this whole 50-50 thing. Do you do that? If you do, I just want to know.
no,
It's not
Why don't you
even.
do it?
not
That's-
because we are, no, we don't actually.
No.
Not because we are opposed to the idea. I, for one, understand. I mean, I understand where this 50-50 concept comes from. You know, I've got a lot of history of patriarchy, and it's very important that, especially in these days, that when you're married, you know, your wife is your equal and vice versa. But no, we don't do 50-50 because for practical reasons, I mean, let's talk about chores, for instance.
Yeah.
I'm terrible in some of the stuff, so
Woo.
by default, you know, she takes over.
He's I mean, this is the thing, right? Personality wise, my thing is I clean to relax, to distress. So like that's my territory. So I enjoy doing that, but at the same time I have OCD. So I need the house to be in order. And oh, God bless my husband, but he's messy. He's really messy. Even when he tries, he's messy. It's. I think at first, like honestly, to be quite honest, at first it was the first year. I think it was really hard. Yeah, even now at certain points, especially if I'm stressed or now with the child, it was really hard in the sense that we. For me, it's like I'm used to order. My mom is like, you know, order and everything in the house. So living up by myself, and then now there's this person, like first year of our marriage, like he leaves his socks and he doesn't do things, and I do all the cooking. I'm like, Aibo, you know, like, can you help? You know, and I'm like, it got to a point where I think we had a conversation where I'm like, I'm not your mom, like, and so it's really about also just being honest with each other that he's not good at certain things. Like, I don't like doing dishes. I really don't. And he will do them. And there are certain things that around the house that he will pick up that I'm not, that I won't do. So it's really about maximizing each other's strengths. But at the same time, if I can't do it, then I'll ask him for help as well, and vice versa. And but it's also not just with chores, it's finances. It's even with looking after our daughter. Like especially with that, if I'm busy like with my academic stuff, I'm like in the zone. I don't want even to mother or anything. So I have to, so he takes on a lot of like being the main parent when I'm going through that, and he lets me have that phase. And at the same time, when he's got a deadline or a delivery at work, then he knows that that's his time. But all I ask for is that when it's supper time, can we have our family time? So it depends. And even with finances, that's we did have 50-50 initially, but more now it's more along what's the family vision. He sometimes vetoes me on things and just does them. And then sometimes I'll do it, and sometimes it works. Hey, sometimes it backfires, and you need to like, okay, I should have consulted you. I wasted money here. So it's really about assessing the situation and what the situation requires.
Exactly.
And,
beautiful. Wow, amazing. I love that.
I think you said it best.
Do you have anything else you'd like to share with other married couples out there, or anybody who's thinking of getting married? Anything you'd like to share with them, just to to encourage them and how to keep their marriage strong, and and prevent divorce and GBV. We all know South Africa will have issues of GBV. I know if we can all just learn to keep our marriages strong, that can also be reduced in households. So do you have any words?
Well, first of all, the subscribing to the institution of marriage, if it's a thing worth doing, absolutely. I think it's you have someone that you share your life with and you grow with, and they are able to, it's a great thing to have, really. But in terms of, say, making sure that your marriage survives. I mean, I've been married for 5 years. I'm hoping to add a 0 into that 5 and make it 50.
Nice.
But what I've learned is, you know, for instance, when you get married, they tell you that there's this thing called uhlanganiswa komndeni in Zulu, meaning that they're combining families, right? But the way I say it, it's not just that. It's a combination of two minds with two separate upbringing, and you're trying to fuse them into one.
Wow.
You know, and that is not easy. That fusion is not easy. So when you get married, understand that trying to get two minds into one and make it a hybrid mind is one of the best things that you can ever do, because you know you're establishing something new. However, it will not be easy. And for some people it's quick, you know, and some others can even take years. And I think that is where in our culture they say ubegezela. I think people just don't go into details when explaining these things, but I think that is when ubegezela, meaning that, you know, you're patient enough, you stay there long enough to you persevere long enough to actually understand the person, because you will not always, and I believe in taking in this anthropological view in things, to say be there with the person long enough for you, even when they sound crazy to other people, are able to explain, to say, no, this is my person. When they say X, Y, Z, and you're able to explain to other people to say, this is what it is, really. So I would just say that it's a conviction. You must tell yourself that it's not always going to be rosy, but if you have a conviction to say, I will always be there for that person. Obviously, there are things which are like intolerable, like, you know, as you've mentioned, gender-based violence, that's a no. But that conviction to say, I will always be there. I will try to understand you a certain way. You find that as the years go by, it gets easier. I don't know if you want to add on that, Bess.
For me, I think it's really understanding that when you say I do, at that point in time, you're only saying I do to what you know, and your sort of your own projection of what the future will be. You don't know what life will throw at you, and you don't know how you will also respond to it. So really just being, I guess it's also on the whole notion of perseverance, but also the being patient enough to understand that, you know, your partner will go through different things as they grow as an individual, whether they will meet a situation that will leave them, you know, feeling depressed, demotivated, or that will require, you know, that is something that is hard, or they'll be sick, or it's a dream that they want to pursue and they'll be scared and they'll make mistakes, or it will be a success, or it'll be, you know, too much to handle, or pressure, or all of those things. You don't know how. We always assume that we have all the knowledge to respond to a situation in the best way. But once you're in that situation, you even, you know, you manifest, or you realize things about you that you didn't even know. So whether it's good or whether it's challenging, I think it's also being patient enough with your partner. It's being patient enough with your partner through those phases, and really saying, and sticking it out. Because I think that's where most divorces and thoughts of separation happen, and maybe this is not the person for me, or maybe we shouldn't be together. But everything is a phase. Everything has a season. And as much as when you were in love and you got married, that was a season of, you know, of prosperity and providence and all of that. There's also a season where you will go through your winter, and you will go through, whether it's your personal pruning season, whether it's spiritual, whether it's financial, it's emotional, it's cultural. You will go through all of that. And it's having that foundation to say, and that commitment to each other, that I'm with this person for life, no matter what life throws at us, no matter how long the season can be, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, or 7 years. It's saying, I love them enough to be there through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And hopefully, obviously not when it's things that are detrimental to your health and your well-being.
Of course.
But when it's things that, you know, that require you to support one another through this life journey, then that is when you need each other even more. And I guess in that season, there'll always be pockets of happiness, and to really hold on to those pockets of happiness, even if it's a 1% improvement, a 2% improvement, and really run with that until it grows and you're eventually out of that season.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, it's really about that.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
Like there's law of familiarity. It's a good thing that our brains are wired in that we get used to situations, we get used to people. But that's where it can be challenging because you no longer do the things you used to do. You no longer view the person the way you used to view them. And like you must always date your husband, you must always date your wife, you know. And you will not always get it right because again, life continues, you get used to the person, but always remind yourself that this is like never stop being creative. Like, you know, this is what my wife likes. I'm going to surprise her this way. You know, even better. You know your spouse even better to say, this is what they're going to most likely appreciate. It's prose and poetry, really. I can put it that way. Yeah. There's life will always happen, but the poetry part, it's that's why you are together. Never lose sight of that. Yeah.
Inspiring. Oh wow. I really hope this is my wish. I wish that, you know, everybody who's thinking of getting married watches this video. Like, anybody in marriage watches this video, because I tell you, they will never be the same. I swear. You guys are just full of so much wisdom. It's just amazing. It's beautiful to watch. It's beautiful to listen to you guys. I am amazed, and I think it's just an honor to have you guys and talking to you. And I must say, I just need to thank you so much for creating the time for this conversation. It's a very critical conversation, and I'm so happy that you managed to have this time to contribute to making happy and strong marriages. Thank you so much, Amani and Tebogo.
No, it's a pleasure. No, thank you for giving us the platform, and we look forward to hearing and learning from everybody else. I mean, with us, we're actually like, do we have anything to share?
You have a lot to share.
Yeah, but it's, I guess you live and you learn, and you keep trying, and 5 years going, and to another.
It doesn't even feel like 5 years.
It doesn't feel like 5 years. We were like, oh my goodness, has it been that long? It really feels, everyone is like, oh my gosh, we're just at Avianto, like not so long ago. But it's nice. It really is. It's nice to go through life with someone, and someone who loves you, who supports you, who's there. It's not always rosy, but it's worth it. Really, it is. And
thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to you. Really, and what you're doing for everybody else. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.